How much salary do you need to make in order to buy a house in Princeton, Texas? That is exactly what we're going to be covering today. We're going to go into the city of Princeton and look at the different type of real estate available for us. And then we're going to go through different price points. We're going to go to the least expensive real estate in Princeton, the mid price, so the average price are in Princeton, and then we're going to go towards the luxury space to give us three distinct price points that we can purchase in the city of Princeton, but with the sole mission of understanding how much salary we need to make. So how much income we need to be making per year in order to make this happen. All right, so let's check this out. With that being said, let's hop right into Princeton and get things moving. All right, so we're gonna go to Princeton right here. We're gonna go to single family, and we're gonna hit search. All right, so let's check this out. Okay, so in case you're wondering where the heck Princeton, Texas even is, it's in the northeast side of the Dallas-Fort Worth metroplex. It's pretty much on the edge, and what's pretty cool about Princeton is there's I don't know how this happens, but Princeton has a funny property line or city line where it has these strips, these long strips of I guess technically city limits. I don't know if it's a pipeline. I don't know what that is, but I always find it interesting whenever we do searches here. But with that aside, let's check out what we've got going on. So again, we got to find the salary necessary to buy a house in Princeton. So what we're going to do over here is we're going to see what is the least expensive, I should probably qualify, piece of property that you can move into. So that's going to be the only criteria here. So this one appears to be a tear down at the present moment. So the least expensive home for sale right now in Princeton technically is $170,000, but it appears to be more of a tear down. So then this one appears to you might be able to it looks like somebody is living in it right now. And then you have 207. So what we're going to do is we're going to say the least expensive home for sale at the present moment is, let's call it 208. Let's call it 208. We'll use this property as the lowest comp or the lowest price home that we're going to be searching in. So that is our least expensive home. So now let's go somewhere towards, let's go to the extreme real quick. We're going to go to the most expensive home. And you can see the most expensive home is 1.68. So $1,685,000. That's the most expensive home. And then the second most expensive home is $800,000. So if you're looking for the luxury space, really the luxury space in the city of Princeton right now is, I would consider it under $1 million. Well, right around the $1 million mark. This one is a little bit abnormal. You don't have as many homes available for sale in Princeton at that value. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and use the second one here. We're going to use $800,000 to give us into the luxury space in case you're looking at that type of real estate. So before I forget, let's go back over here, 208,000. So we're going to use that as the lowest, 208,000. And then we're going to go over here to the luxury world. So we're going to call that 800,000. At the luxury space, and we're going to find something in between. We're going to go somewhere in between. All right, so here we go. Let's go right in here. $375,000. That is the medium price point that we're going to go with. Okay, so we have the price points that we're going to be exploring. Again, the most expensive, the least expensive, or pretty close to least expensive, the mid price, and the luxury space. So what we're going to do is, oh, and by the way, this is linked down below, this max price calculator, which gives you how much you can afford with the salary that you're making, is linked down below. So make sure you check this out. All right, so with that being said, let's get into some math so we can quickly get to the answers that we're looking for. So for when it comes to down payment, when you're buying a property, depending on the loan that you're going with, you're going to be asked for a down payment. Now, there's certain minimums that are required with certain loan types. As an example, if you get a conventional loan, the minimum down payment is going to be 3%. If you get a FHA loan, that's going to be a minimum down payment of 3.5%. For our purposes today, we're going to go with yeah. Did I say FHA 3.5%? Hopefully I did. If not, I made a mistake. It's 3.5%. For today's purposes, we're going to go with 5% down. That seems to be what most of our clients end up going with. Now, because we're not putting 20% down on the purchase of this home and we're going to be using a conventional loan, because we didn't put that 20% down, we're going to be paying what's called mortgage insurance. This mortgage insurance is an insurance that the lender puts on us in the event that we default. So not only are they taking their property back, but it also means that they have another assurance or insurance that they're going to be made whole or to the best of their abilities through this insurance policy that they've put on us. So we're going to go with 5% down. Interest rate. So what we're going to do is Princeton, Texas property tax rate. I'm sorry, what am I doing? What am I doing? That comes later. We're going with, what is the interest rate right now? And we're going to click here at bank rate to see what the interest rate is floating at right now. So we're going to say that the national average is 30 years fixed at 6.21. So we're going to go with 6.21%. That is the national average for a 30-year that we're going to go with. So we're going to also assume that we're taking a 30-year loan. Property taxes. Now we can go back to property taxes. So whenever you're buying a property, know that one, you're paying property taxes. That's for sure. Two, whenever you're buying property taxes, understand that in the Dallas-Fort Worth market, the average range is about 1.8% to about 3%. That is the average range that we're talking about. The second thing about property taxes, especially here in the Dallas-Fort Worth metroplex, is that whenever you're doing the calculation to get to the property taxes, there's up to 5 numbers that you need to take into consideration. Number 1 is going to be the city tax rate. Number 2 is the county tax rate. Number 3 is the ISD. Those are the 3 numbers that you need to for sure find in every single city. Now there's 2 additional numbers that come up. Oftentimes that is going to be the county tax rate, and then the second one is going to be the what did I say the first one was? I'm already I'm having it's a challenging morning, so let's start all over. So the five numbers that you're going to need to find when it comes to property taxes is city, county, and ISD. Those are 3 numbers you need to find. Oftentimes 2 additional numbers that come up that you're going to need to look out for are going to be your higher education tax and then the hospital network tax. So with higher education, think of community college. With hospital network, think here in Dallas as an example, think Parkland. So there's up to 5 numbers that you need to find in order to get to your property tax rate. So what we're going to do is we're going to now go to Princeton, Texas property tax rate. And we're going to go to their website. So right here, this is the Princeton website. And let's find it. Okay, so nothing's happening in their website. So we're going to go to Collin County and let's see if we can get some information there. So we're going to go and use their tax estimator. We're going to go with Princeton. We're going to go with Princeton ISD. Going to go with the Collin College, and then here usually this doesn't apply to us, but it could. So I know that if we go with the Collin County Water District of 1%, it's going to be quite a bit. So what we're going to do is let's do this. Let's take this property right here. Let's take this property right here and let's just find it on the CAD, because the city website with Princeton is not giving us much information, and the calculator that they have for Collin County doesn't apply to all of the properties. So I want to go straight to the Collin County Central Appraisal District. I'm going to find this property. The reason I'm not showing this on screen is because I don't want to dox the owners, because we will get their name here once I find the property. So I just want to avoid that. So that's why I'm doing this from another screen. Couldn't find it. Okay, I know what the issue is. The issue is that the CAD is dumb. It is very archaic, and there it is. All right, so this home looks like to be a new build. So it's probably not the best one to have used. Okay, here we go. Cool. All right, so I just found this particular. I just used one of the homes. I think it was this one right here. This is a new build, so there's actually no owners, so that's good. Anyway, these are going to be the 4 taxing entities. So here, the reason I went to go to the CAD specifically was because I wanted to see if this water district was applicable to begin with. And it doesn't appear to be the case. It doesn't appear to be the case, at least for this property. So it has the city, the county, the ISD, and it also has Collin County. So one of those other 2 that I mentioned was possibly going to come up. So the only thing here that of the 5 numbers that I mentioned that is not going to come up is going to be the hospital network. So we have, at this point, we have to add these up to get our property taxes. All right, so let's go with 0.44 plus 0.14 plus 0.081 plus 1.255. So our property taxes for the city of Princeton are 1.925. So 1.925. All right, so we're gonna go with one. We're gonna add up. We're gonna round up. So we're gonna say that the property tax rate is 1.93. So here, because of the way that this tool was created, this max price calculator was created. Easy to house hack in Little Elm, Providence. I want to buy a 4-bed, 3-bath, and HH. What does HH mean? Thank you for your common investing feed. Thanks for dropping by. Let me know if there's a question on that or if that's more of a comment. All right. So property taxes is 1.9. We're going to say 1.93. And then insurance, with our insurance premiums, the easy math that we do is we basically multiply 0.75% times the value of the home. So 0.75% times the value of the home. So what this is going to be is it's going to take in these 2 numbers into consideration. So it's going to be, that's going to give us the premium for that home, the home insurance premium for that home. Mortgage insurance rate, we're going to assume, since we didn't put 20% down, we are going to assume that the down payment, we're going to assume that because we didn't put 20% down, we are going to be paying mortgage insurance, and we're going to, in this particular breakdown, we're going to assume that we have a conventional loan with good credit. And when it comes to HOA fees in Princeton, that's going to be a way of life. It's going to be challenging to get away from homeowners association because there's a lot of new construction being built. There's just a ton of new construction being built. Many of the homes that have been sold here recently have all been new construction. So here it's going to be tough to get out of an HOA. The reason being is because with new construction, over 85% of the homes that are being sold right now are being sold right into an HOA. All right, so with that being said, now we have the parameters in place. Now we have the real estate market in consideration. Now what we got to do is we got to find out how much salary we need to make to buy a house in Princeton for $208,000, for $375,000, and an $800,000 home in Princeton. So what we're going to do is we're going to start off with, let's say we make $60,000. This is the gross income, so yearly gross income. Now, what we're also going to need to add are debts. What debt do we have? Now, debt is going to be credit card payments, going to be student loans, going to be car loans, child support. That is what debt is. And here's a little bit of an explainer of what that happens to entail. Now, you don't, and we'll be adding the debt here. So just once you get this calculator, make sure that you just go to the top left-hand side, make a copy, and save it into your particular Google Drive so you can edit this and add the debt that you're going to need to. So just name your debt here and then put the amount that the minimum monthly payment here. Now, please don't include expenses. So expenses like your phone bill, is your gas, is your food. That's things that are already factored into the ratio that this calculator is going to work with. Then also, if you have a co-borrower in place, just put their yearly income, and then also the debt that they have. So based off of this, we're just gonna go with no debt with this particular scenario, just to keep it simple. So we're gonna say $60,000 is what we are making, and if we take all that into consideration, what this is gonna mean for us is, if we go down here, the most that we can afford, or so the most that we can buy with that $60,000 income, based off of the interest that's available for us right now, the property taxes and everything in between, the most that we can buy is a home for $265,000. So that actually meets our criteria. So we're trying to hit $208,000. That's the home that we're trying to buy. However, whenever we do our calculations, these are just ranges. We give you the ranges or different tiers of for the loans, just to give you different really different qualifiers. So we give some labels here of safe loans, conservative loan, a moderate loan, an aggressive loan, and a risky loan. So whenever we do our breakdowns with our clients and our analysis with our clients, we actually do not I do not ask that you max out your purchase price. You may be approved for this amount, but I highly encourage you not to. That's just not, it's gonna really put you in a situation where if home prices continue to increase as they have, and property taxes also continue to rise, which would make your payments go from, let's say, $2,300 to $2,400, $2,500. It can be quite taxing if the property taxes continue to rise the way that they have. So that's why whenever we do breakdowns, we don't go to the risky loans. We also don't even encourage you getting an aggressive loan. What we do is, whenever we do our breakdowns, is we want that number that we're trying to shoot for, that home that we're trying to qualify for, in this case $208,000, we want that number to fit somewhere in the middle between this number and this number. So between a moderate and an aggressive loan. That seems to be a fine balance of not having to make $1 billion to get the home that we want, but also not get into a situation that we're absolutely maxing out our situation here. All right. So again, as a quick reminder, make sure you go to File and make a copy. So duplicate this one once you get this. Now this is linked down below. Make sure you check that out. All right, so what we got to do now is, now this technically did meet our parameter, but what I'm going to do is let's see. What if I bump it down 55? All right, so I bumped it down slightly just to give us a realist, to get this number $208,000 between this one and this one, so get it a little bit more balanced. So in this particular case, I feel comfortable putting us making $55,000 in order to qualify for this $208,000 home. So this answers our first question: how much do we need to make to buy this type of home? Now let's go on to the next one. If we want to buy a more expensive home, $375,000, well, we're obviously going to need to make a little bit more. So what we're going to do is we're going to ask for a raise. We're going to say we make $95,000 and see if we can afford that home with that $95,000. So here we need to look for $375,000. That's going to put us right where we need to be. So at $375,000. So that $375,000 is right in between this moderate loan and the aggressive loan. So for our purposes, this meets our internal criteria. So if we make $95,000, we're going to be able to afford this home. Now let's go into the luxury space. Now with the luxury space, it's going to throw off a few things here and there, because it's more as we get more and more expensive, we're starting to talk about certain limits that conventional loans can go up to. Then we start talking about jumbo loans. So for our purposes today, we're going to still use this calculator, but just keep that in mind. There are going to be some limits, some limitations to the calculations that we're able to make. So what we're going to do is, if we're going to buy that house, let's just say we make $185,000. Let's see what that looks like. All right, so we can actually go down a little bit further. So it's technically already within where we need to be. So what if we make a little bit less? Oh, what happened? Oh. So we make $195,000. That'll put us roughly, that's that's about right where we want to be. So it's not exactly in the middle from this, because when you're talking about large numbers, it does kind of jump things out a bit. So what we're gonna say is $195,000 is gonna be our ticket. So if we want to buy that house in Princeton, for all these conditions, with all the conditions that we have here, we're looking at $800,000. All right, so let's do this now. For our purpose, for now that we have all this information in place, so if we want to buy a house for $208,000 in Princeton, we need to make $55,000. If we want to buy a house in Princeton for $375,000, we need to be making $95,000. $800,000, $195,000. All right, so let's do this. Let's go to 150, and now we're gonna get what I want to show you here with this breakdown is, now at this point we've already gone through our exercise, but I want to show you what the breakdown of a payment looks like. So here, let's just say we're buying a house in Princeton that is $406,000. That means if we do a 5% down, we're looking at $20,000 for that property. And on top of that, we're also looking at estimated closing costs of about $10,000. So for us to come to the closing table and close on this particular home, we're looking at spending about $30,000 at the closing table. So we need to have that money liquid, ready to go, which means that this home is going to be, the monthly payment for us is going to be about $3,500, which is putting this amount towards principal and this amount towards interest. So this amount together is, for our principal and interest, is $2,366. Property taxes, this is why we got the property tax rate to begin with, are going to be about $653 per month. Our homeowners association is going to be homeowners insurance, that was weird. So homeowners insurance is going to be $254 per month. Our mortgage insurance is going to be about $193. Remember, the mortgage insurance is in place because we didn't put 20% down. And then with the homeowners association, although technically it's not included in our monthly payment, we do include it just because we want to have this information available to us so we can budget it. So for homeowners association, we're looking at about $33 per month. But again, homeowners association fees are paid usually at the beginning of the year. If you're getting billed annually in an invoice and you're expected to pay that all in one fell swoop, it's not something that you would be paying in your mortgage payment. So now that we have the answer, now that we know how much you need to make in order to buy a house in Princeton, if you're looking to buy a house in Princeton, or if you're looking to sell a house in Princeton and would love to work with someone that is qualified and can help you through the entire process from end to end, let me know in the comment section down below. Also, our contact information is down below. We would love to support you in any way that we can. Outside of that, see you on the next one. Bye.